Hi, this is Rachel Rehart from Pure Photoshop Actions, and I'm going to do another quick tutorial. This time we're going to talk about the develop mode in Lightroom, which this is kind of the fun one that everybody wants to get in and work, because this is where the editing happens. I walked through the library mode recently and how you can get going quickly, things like keywording, importing, all of those things, how to quickly cull your photos so you can just have the ones that you want in your library mode. I'm going to show again how to do a different type of culling. This one I'll use it for shorter sessions that I can cull right in the develop mode. So I'll kind of show how I do that as well. But I want to show you lots of quick ways to how to sync your edits and how to. I'll show you how to edit. I'll show you things with the brush, the adjustment brush. I'll show you a lot of things like that. But I want to show you how to, once you get that great edit, I want to show you how to move it over a lot of images at once. There's a lot of different ways, and they're appropriate at different times. But we really want to show you how to get your speed going and how to understand some of these things that are kind of specific to Lightroom, kind of exciting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm going to create an edit that I just really, really like. And then I'm going to show you a few different ways to sync it. And then I'll show you one way that I will go about culling down my images while I'm just in the develop mode. So, so let's work with some of the presets here. I'm going to come over and I love these pictures. The light was a little bit overcast, and so as you can see, it's a little bit bright in some spots because it's that overhead light with the clouds that kind of, instead of it being directional, the clouds will sort of almost like be a giant softbox from above. So there's a little bit of a hot spots at times with that. Around places like the forehead, the nose, and the cheeks. So I'm going to overcome that by doing basic workflow for overbright images. I'm going to pull it down. Okay, so now it's a little bit dark on their faces, but see how it brought in all that detail really, really nicely on these, on her dress, which I really, really like. So I'm probably, I'm going to do that. I might, I don't know, I'm not even too, it seems like it's fairly warm. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, okay, so I've got this. I'm going to come over to my adjustment brush, and I'm probably going to just do a quick dodging, and we're going to kind of, as you see, we can bring in, just, there we go. We're just going to bring in her face. And I like that because this kind of makes it a little bit less of that overhead light. We've been able to kind of lighten things up to bring down some of the highlights. We've brought up some of the exposure. So I like that a lot. I really, really think that this is kind of, it's an edit that I think is it's a nice one. So, okay, so I've got an edit now that I feel pretty comfortable with. Now, one thing that I can do, I just pulled in a lot of pictures from a session here. I didn't bring in the whole session because it would take too long for for a video. So I don't even know if all these are necessarily really ones that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this picture. So some of them may be ones that it's like, oh, this is no good. So I'll show you how I can cull as I go along. So one way that you can apply this edit, I say, okay, you know what? I like this edit. I think it looks great. It's good skin tones. We've got good detail. We've got all these things going for us. It kind of draws us into them because it's not overly bright in the edges. It's kind of what I'm looking for. So one of the first things you can do, this is really great, copy and paste. So I'm going to do Command C, and it brings up my settings. So I could copy everything. I could even copy the local adjustment brush, but I'm not sure that I really want to because it's really quick. If I leave my local adjustment brush open, I can just go along. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do a crop copying. But everything else, I think I might. Sometimes I don't do white balance. Right now I am. So I'm going to say, okay, copy these settings. Now I'm going to just come along and I'm going to just keep going to each new thing. So this one, I didn't do this one. I didn't start on this one, but you know, let's try this. So Command V is to paste. Okay. You know what? I like that. Let's see how it goes with this adjustment brush. So I've still got my adjustment brush settings. Let's brush it on these guys and see. Okay, you know, because this one, oops, this one was a little bit, oh, I don't know how I just edited that. That is very strange because okay, so we're going to move it back. There we go. All right, so this one I actually brought it up a little bit more because I felt like this was a little bit underexposed, but I like it a lot now. So I'm going to say, okay, yeah, that was great. So copy and paste worked super well. Over here, see, but I want to get rid of this one because it's not as flattering. I caught her in a weird spot, and so I'm going to do delete, return, and look, I'm right now it removed it from my Lightroom category or my Lightroom catalog. Because I'm not interested in having ones where my clients don't look their best. This one, I don't like this one as well, so I'm going to press delete, and it says delete from Lightroom, and I say, yeah, you know what, let's just remove this one because again, I don't feel like this one really looks the best. And you know, I'm not even sure about this one. I'm going to remove that, but I do like this one. So Command V instead of delete. Okay, I like that, and then I'm going to come over to my adjustment brush again, turn that one on, and okay, I'm gonna, you know, come over here and I'm gonna paint this on, and you know, again, I'm going to edit that and bring it up. I liked it about there. Okay, yeah, no, that looks super great. So I'm going along. Okay, next one, arrow. You know what, this was pretty close. It was the same as this one maybe. So I might just say, yeah, Command V. Okay, but I do like this one. There we go. We're bringing down kind of those hot spots. We're going to bring the adjustment brush over and bring that in. So as you can see, okay, Command V, that one works out really, really nice as something that we can bring over our settings. Okay, so that one worked out really good. But say I say, okay, you know what? Like this has all been pretty similar. Okay, how can I go even quicker? Yeah, if I want to go even quicker, how did I? That's interesting. That one has an adjustment brush, and I'm not entirely sure why that has an adjustment brush, because let's see. But I like this one. I really do like this one. So. So I'm going to click on this and get rid of this real quick because I'm not sure why that's already edited. Okay, so, you know, I say, yeah, I do like this one. So let me, instead, you know, I'm going to say, okay, pretend like I've gone through and I've culled these. Maybe I've culled these before in Library, as I had shown in the other video. Instead, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, okay, all of these pictures are in the same type of situation. Like the light is almost exactly the same in all of these because they're standing really pretty much in the same spot. I didn't really change my settings, so these are all pretty much the same. So instead I have one, I'm going to come over here to one that's edited. I'm going to click over to the end of this one where they're kind of by these cherry bushes, these cherry trees, and I say, okay, I've got all of these selected down here in the film strip. I've held down Shift and I've clicked the end of that lighting scenario where I say, yeah, okay, that's all pretty much the same. And I'm going to click sync and I say, okay, synchronize. And I don't know if you can see it, probably not because it's kind of small, but it's just synchronized everything over here. So I say, you know, I like this one a lot. And as I said, I didn't synchronize the settings of the adjustment brush. So I'm going to come over here now and I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Let's bring this adjustment brush over. And yeah, she looks really, really good. So I love this adjustment brush because in a way it's kind of like doing layers if you think about it, because I can say, okay, so I've worked on this. And honestly, like, I don't feel like I have to do a ton here, but if I wanted to come over and say, okay, you know, maybe I want to work on her eyes or something, right over here, you know, I could do that. I could bring in an adjustment brush, and I could say, you know, this looks really, really good, but I want to maybe bring up some exposure on her eyes. I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Let's bring up a new brush. You always have to do that when you're changing the edit. Make sure that it says new. Otherwise, you're going to end up with all sorts of craziness, because you have it'll just keep editing. Because like I said, so this is a layer. If I want to edit this one, I can click it. It shows me, okay, you've painted here. I hover over it. It shows me where I've painted. So it's just like painting on a mask in Photoshop, which is really, really exciting that you can kind of add these different layers over and over in Lightroom. So here, if I wanted to edit it, I could add maybe a little, you know, contrast or something. Actually, I don't really want to do that, but I could change the exposure if I wanted to bring it up. I don't want to do that either. It would really blow it out and look awful. Let's see, but yeah, so if I wanted to edit this, you know, as you can see, I can bring up the exposure, I can bring it down, I can say, okay, you know, like here's where I think it looks pretty good. I like that. I can do different things on this edit. But then if I want to add a new thing, like say I want to come in and maybe brighten up her eyes a little bit, I could do that as well. I could say, okay, you know, come in. I'm not saying I really am actually going to do this, but you can, you know, okay, look, I brightened up her eyes. I actually don't want to do that, so I'm going to remove that. But there's a lot of really exciting things that you can do with this adjustment brush. You can keep adding on different things. If I wanted to, you know, slowly build up different edits, this is a great way to do it. So it's exciting to do this. So as we've added each of these, we say, oh yeah, no, this is wonderful. Yeah, I want to add an adjustment brush. And so we've got editing, and then we're bringing up the exposure selectively. So Lightroom is global, but this makes it a little more like Photoshop. Okay, so we've worked our way through these edits. Now let's try one of these here. We'll talk about, okay, how are we going to, actually, I'm going to come over here and do something just different. Okay, I forgot those ones were kind of out of focus. Okay, let's do some of these because it's just a different one. But I still do like, I think here we're going to see that using the basic workflow with no brightening, it's going to bring down, it just brought down some of these overly bright areas in the back, but look, they're kind of orange, a little bit underexposed, so woohoo, we're going to adjustment brush this one again. I doubt that I'm going to need it to be as high as it was there, but let's see. So yeah, I'm just going to come in, oops, they're a little high there. So bring them in, pull it down to, yeah, about there. See, his face is still a little warm. Okay, a little bit hot. There we go. Okay, so I really like this. As we can close that and say, okay, yeah, this looks really, I like this edit. I can even come through here and kind of get it a little bit straightened. It's always hard with the temple because the lines don't exactly add up. So it can be really, really tricky sometimes to get it just perfectly straight, but that's close enough. I feel good about that. So, okay, so we've got this edit and I really, really like it. And you know what? Like this next one, let's say that I think this one's great. This one I probably actually wouldn't do. So, you know, let's show you. Okay, I say, yeah, we're gonna delete this. So delete, we're gonna get this out of Lightroom, remove. Oh, I don't want this one either because she's got her eyes closed. But okay, let's say we say, oh, okay, so I have this one from before that I really like that edit. And then here it's like, okay, I like this one a lot too. Another thing that you can do is you can come over to previous. This is kind of interesting. I don't know that a lot of people always use this one, but this will move everything that you've done over, including any crops. So it's just a one-click thing. Here, the crop maybe didn't need to move over. But as you can see, it moved over everything, including my adjustment brush, just everything. It was like a copy paste just immediately. So here I say, okay, again, previous, this was a little bit closer to the other. So let's try this again. Okay, previous, look, bam. Like it was just, so I can look at each of these and say, you know what? Yeah, I like that. Let's move over the edit from before. So if you're still looking through and you're kind of trying to get an eyeball on each one, and you're going through and culling like we have been talking about, say I didn't cull it in the library, I can say, oh, okay, this is great. Let's see if we need to use the previous here. Yeah, okay, I like that one. Perfect. That looks really good. This one's a little bit different. Let's see if we can try the previous. Maybe, because the lighting is still very similar. So we bring in the previous. Okay, yeah, I really like that one. But I'm going to say, okay, what happened with the adjustment brush? Here, I can hover over it and it's going to show me, you know what? Let's get rid of that and let's put in a new, there we go. Like we're just going to bring in a little bit of a new brush. But yeah, so I mean, that one goes really, really fast. Lightroom is amazing in that you can really go through and just quickly get these things edited. So here we've talked about copying and pasting. Command C, choosing specifically what you're going to bring over. You say, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want the crop to come over every single time. As you can see, sometimes the crop doesn't work. So choosing not to bring it over can be a good thing. So we have Command C, Command V, just copy and pasting, just like you're doing in some kind of a document or something. Then we have going through and doing where you have syncing. Here I say, gosh, all these are, again, that similar lighting situation. So let me go over here and say, you know what? These are all really, really close. Let's get to the end here. So Shift and click with one of them edited here. And I say, yeah, I really like that. I'm going to sync it. I'm not going to bring the crop, and I'm not really going to bring the adjustment brush. Okay, sync. So now look at that. I just added that edit just everywhere, which is great. Like I love that. I love that I can quickly get it all finished and done, and it's kind of this great thing. So instead, yeah, then I can come over here and say, yeah, let's look at these pictures here. I say, yeah, you know what? Let's look at this one, and it's going to load. It's got that brought in for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think this looks really good. Oh, it actually did not. Did I take out the exposure? Okay, sync. Oh, that's interesting. I guess I did not add, or I didn't edit it the way that I thought that I had. So let's do this one here. So we're going to say, instead I want to do basic workflow for overbright images. Okay, yeah, so I like this one. I think we kind of brought this down. We're going to sync this through these. All right. Sync. Yes. Okay, I'm bringing those down a little bit because we're really kind of showcasing her dress. So I want to bring in every bit of detail. I don't want there to be any overexposure at all. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, let's bring in a brush. Oh, yeah, she looks great. So, yeah, and here we have him over here. All right, there we go. But as you can see, so we have syncing, we have copying, pasting, we have doing the previous, which is, again, super fast. You can just get these edits out amazingly quickly. And then using your adjustment brush, it's such a fabulous tool. I can go through and I can say, you know, I think maybe I want to work on, so like maybe these trees, I think, okay, they're maybe a little bit too dark. So I can come in with another brush. I can click new on the exposure, because right here we have these edits that we've got here. Maybe I don't want to bring it up that much, but I say, okay, you know, I want to add some different things. So I'm going to maybe lighten up these here. Maybe I'm going to come and maybe I really want to get a little bit, I'm going to add new, click new again. And I'm going to say, you know what, now this time I think I'm going to go through and I think I'm going to do maybe a burn brush. So, okay, so I just clicked a burning brush. I'm going to bring down the exposure maybe here. You know, maybe I'm really trying to get a little bit more, oh, it's really dark there. Maybe I'm trying to be, you know, really, really dodgy, you know, or burning, I guess. You know, I want to get really exciting, and I want to say, okay, what are we, you know, we're going to do something a little more artistic here. We're going to bring down these sides so that we don't lose, you know, what's going on here. You know, I want it to just really, really focus on her. Maybe I want to come through here and I want to contour, you know, so I'm going to bring in some of these areas here. There's her waist a little bit. We're going to contour a little bit, you know, bring in some of these shadows. You know, I'm trying to go really fast and think, because I actually really liked how this edit went, but maybe this area is a little bit dark, so I'm going to burn that down. Okay, so because you can kind of, you know, get some contouring going on. Okay, now maybe I say, okay, I want to add a new brush here, and I can just kind of keep going through with different brushes. Maybe I want to come over and maybe I want to bring, you know, maybe her face in a little bit. I could, you know, work on makeup, getting close, you know, kind of darken her lipstick a little bit. But I can keep going through and adding new brush, new brush, new brush. And as you can see, each of these, I can keep clicking on these pins. So here's her face, here's the trees, here's the, you know, burning down the area and kind of, you know, getting that focus on her. So I can keep bringing in these new brushes. I want to just keep clicking new every time I do it, because otherwise I'm going to just edit. It immediately, like the first thing it wants to do when you click on one of these is it wants to edit. So you need to click new if you're going to do something else. Otherwise, you know, if I did her face and I brightened it up, then if I decided I was going to come along and do a burning around the edges, if I didn't click new, when I changed the exposure to do that, it would change it on her face. So again, always clicking that new every time you do a different one. And yeah, I mean, so here, let's look at the before and after. That's one thing I really like that you can do here. It was great. I mean, we really took what was kind of flat light and we made it look so much more together. You know, we've got more contrast, we've got more vibrancy, you know, so that's adding this, the first preset, and then it's kind of adding those adjustment brushes. We've really kind of come in and made it look just great. So I love using all of these different options that you have within Lightroom. It's a very, very quick, very, very amazing tool because it's so fast. As you can see, there's so many ways that I can get an edit that I like onto other images. So now I just want to talk about how to get it out of Lightroom, because that's a question a lot of new people have is, okay, so you got it in, how are we going to get this back out? So now let's say, okay, you know what, I like everything I've done. I've gone through, I've edited it. I think it all looks, okay, really, really good. We're really, really excited. Then I can go back and I can click the first one and then I'll click the last one, which is why for me, getting it really nicely culled is important, because I'm going to come through here and I'm going to click export. So now I have all these and I'm telling it to export, and I'm going to say, okay, so I need to export it to a specific folder. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, okay, it's in here. It's in my 2014 backup. And then I'm going to choose, because this was actually, let me think, Deborah's. There we go. So we'll put it in Deborah's wedding, and we'll say, okay, I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this new folder, actually I clicked Deborah's wedding, so we're actually okay, because I had forgotten that. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, I want it in Deborah's wedding, because this is where it comes from. Now I want to put it in a subfolder, because I don't want to just spread these throughout all of my raws. That's going to be kind of a pain. So usually I'll put this, I'll call it something like couples photos. So couples photos. And then what I'm going to do is I want to rename these files. Because I don't know if you've ever gone through and you've done a session and maybe you have like, you know, the session is like A1732, A1733, A1734. And maybe you're like, okay, you know what? I don't like some of these, and you take them out. And so, you know, you say, oh, you know what? Nobody was looking, or this session, this just didn't work out, or this was out of focus or whatever. And you take some out, right? And have you ever had a client say, oh, I got those because when we first started, we did not really do this renaming, and people would say, you know what, I love these photos, and I was going through and I noticed that you were missing A733 through A737 or something, and I really liked all those photos. Hey, could I see those photos? And it was like, no, because they were out of focus or everybody was looking wonky or whatever. And instead of having to go through that, we just rename it now, and it makes it really, really nice, because then it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they don't even know that anything's missing. It's out of sight, it's out of mind. There's no question. So there's lots of ways you can do it in Lightroom. I choose custom name sequence because you could do it with the original file number. You could do lots of different things like that. I just choose to do a sequence. So my custom name here maybe will be couples. So then that way, if I'm doing this, they can say, okay, there's couples 1, 2, 3, 4. There's wedding. This. So here, and then I can start on number 1. So it's couples 1 JPEG, and then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way through. I'm doing it as a JPEG. I'm doing it in the sRGB color space. I bring my quality to 100. I sharpen for matte paper, and I do the standard amount. I just find that when that renders, I like that the best. I include my copyright and contact information, which I've added. If you'll watch my first one in the library mode, it's really nice to be able to add metadata, like adding your copyright. And then I don't do anything else on these. So this is super, super simple. This is how I'm going to export. So again, I'm exporting it to a specific folder. Like I said, I walked you through choosing the location, putting it in a subfolder so that you have everything organized. That makes it really, really convenient to say, okay, what is this about? Okay, this is the couple's photos. Doing my sequence, renaming it, giving it the name, giving it the start number. There you go. So again, JPEG, sRGB, 100% matte paper, and I'll just do the standard. Oh, and that's right. I also do a resolution of 300 pixels per inch if I'm doing it for print, which I usually am. If I'm going to do something for the web, usually it's because that I've gone through, and I'll maybe bring it into Photoshop and make sure that, that's usually something like this. I'll say, okay, actually these, I think they look great. I'd probably just give them as is. But I could bring it into Photoshop. If they order these for, for their album or whatever, I will go through, like usually with the reception, and all these different things. It's like, here's 1,000 images of your wedding. They're not going to print all of them. So I will go through in Lightroom and I'll say, okay, you know what? Here is a great, clean, beautiful edit. And then for their album, everything there will get hand touched in Photoshop. I'll go through and make sure the skin is flawless. We'll make sure everything is just perfect. We'll add that little pinch of our style to it in Photoshop. So that's after I'm going to export this. But here I'm just exporting these and I'm just going to put these in a folder and I can give them to them. So I'm not going to bring every single photo into Photoshop because that's going to take me so long. I used to bring it in every single photo into Photoshop, and let me tell you, it took me hours and hours and hours to get a wedding done, and it was exhausting. It was completely exhausting. And I thought, I just can't do weddings because this is taking so long. Even with actions that we had made, doing the whole wedding, it was like, yeah, this just takes forever. We tried the batching and that worked pretty well, but Lightroom for weddings is indispensable. Using this or using Adobe Camera Raw. And Crystal has some videos on that are amazing. But here, it was just, this was like a revelation. It was like, I can continue to do weddings and not feel like I'm going to just make myself completely crazy. This was just, okay, this is how we're going to get this done and get it done quickly. So we will, as I said, we'll give them these, and then yeah, I'm completely happy to go into Lightroom and retouch photos for the album, but nobody cares, if Aunt Sally's eating cake, it's not like, wait, is her skin perfectly, edited? Nobody cares. And it was making me crazy. So Lightroom is amazing. It will give you a beautiful edit. And you're going through, you're looking, you're making sure that you're getting rid of, in a quick culling process, as we've shown in one video. In this one, you can go through and quickly take out the photos that are not up to par. So you're looking at each one, you're hand touching in the effect of, okay, you know, is this one up to snuff? Yes. Or is it up to snuff? No. So you're not just randomly giving these to clients without ever having looked at them. You're making sure that they're the best of the best, they're making the cut, and they're beautifully edited, but you're not taking 1,000 years to get done. Either it's, you know, a sync that's gonna knock out those photos quickly, or it's a copy paste as you're going along, just, okay, you know, yes, this stays in, copy paste. No, this goes, okay, delete, 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 okay, copy paste, you know, very quick. You can get things done. This is just going right through. You're not waiting for each photo to load. It's really, really great in terms of speed. So, okay, so we've gone through all of these. We're going to export them. So yeah, so then I'm going to click export. And as you can see, it's starting to export these files. It'll show me as they get done. It's amazing. You know, now I can just walk away and I can do whatever else I need to do. And these are all getting put into a folder that I can then upload to, because that's how we do it. We upload these to PixieSet. We send these to the client. I mean, so I can upload this and done and done. If I'm going to, you know, bring some over to the web, maybe I'm going to bring it into Photoshop, give it that album edit. And then I can save that, you know, so it can go in the album. And then I can go over and say, okay, this is super. Now I'm going to put it on my Facebook page as a preview. I'm going to resize it for web, and I'm going to upload it. But overall, 95% of the work has been done in Lightroom, and it's been done very, very quickly. I can now usually get an edited wedding out with quite a few images, you know, maybe 500 to 1,000 images, depending on the time that we were contracted. And I can get that done in about 3 hours if I can sit down, my kids aren't interrupting me, things aren't going crazy, versus what used to be literally, you know, I mean, probably, you know, 20 or so hours of just, gotta just dredge through each one. So this is kind of why you gotta look into Lightroom, especially if you're doing weddings. But, you know, I mean, there's times that I can sit down, if I can get myself a good hour or so, if I have a family session, an engagement session, something like that, I can sit down in Lightroom and I can get it knocked out in, you know, in an hour or so. So, I mean, if I conceivably had the time and didn't have kids, you know, saying, oh my gosh, you're home, then I could conceivably go to shoot the wedding, come home, upload it, and, you know, have it uploaded to PixieSet in an hour if I conceivably had that hour right after the shoot. So Lightroom, I'm going to just plug it, say it's great. And especially being able to use, using presets. For me, I like to do it because I know what I'm going to get. I understand, okay, this is going to go even faster. So as you can see, look, it's already almost all the way. It's like halfway done through its export. So anyway, that is how you can quickly use the develop module. I've talked your ear off, but I wanted to give you the reasons that you're going to do it this way and show you some of those amazing quick things that you can get done in the develop module. There's lots of little things. I'll probably continue to add little, hey, here's a quick thing you can do in the develop module type of things, but it won't be, you know, this, okay, here's a session and let's really dive in. But thank you so much for your time. I totally appreciate it. As you can see, Lightroom is amazing. It's fast. It's awesome. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a nice day.